It's just there wasting time, just like this next scene when Natalie takes Rod to go meet her mother. So now why don't you take your best guess at what you think is going to happen in this scene? Do you think something important is going to happen? Do you think there's going to be any sort of conflict? Do you think there's going to be any character development? Do you think there's going to be any interesting dialogue? Do you think it's going to move the plot forward at all? If you guessed yes to any one of these things, then can I please have a hit of the crack that you were smoking? Because it must be some really good shit. Summary of this entire scene is Natalie takes Rod to go meet her mother, and Rod asks if she's enjoying her retirement.
So are you enjoying your retirement?
Oh, I love the retirement. I was a jeweler for 30 years, and sometimes I miss not going into the jewelry store, but you know, I really like retirement. I like to travel, I like to cruise, and I enjoy watching television.
That's great, but guess what? Nobody cares! This is just pointless, boring chit-chat, the type of stuff that you'd expect to hear in real life. And guess what? Movies aren't supposed to be real life. Real life can get boring sometimes, and that's why people watch movies. So later that night, Rod and Natalie go to a bar, and what follows is a 2-minute sequence that could easily be a contender for the most awkward dance scene of all time.
You owe me some money. I think somebody's calling. I gotta go. Just hanging out with the family, having ourselves a party.
Now some of you may be thinking, Mark, what's the big deal? 2 minutes here, 3 minutes there, that's not long at all. Trust me, it is. Especially when you're watching something really embarrassing like two people awkwardly dancing alone in a bar to a song about a family having a party being sung by a guy who looks like he could be Wayne Brady's brother. Now I could make you watch the whole scene to really prove my point, but I'm pretty sure that could probably be classified as cyberbullying, so I'll just give you an idea of what I mean. Please observe. See, and that was just 10 seconds. Made you pretty uncomfortable, didn't I? So anyways, if you can make it past that scene, then you'll be treated to the best part of the movie by far. And yeah, this is my favorite part of the movie only because Natalie's in her bra and panties. I'm a guy, so sue me. I've had to suffer through this entire movie twice now, okay? Let me just have this. Anyways, I do have a problem with this scene, and it's not because of the awkward kissing or that Rod just somehow manages to stare at her rocking body with pretty much no emotion at all. Seriously, my problem with this scene is that they had to include this TV in the frame. Why did they do this? Because the footage on the TV is from a movie called Julie and Jack, which featured Tippi Hedren, and she was the star of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, which was the inspiration for this movie. So by including some footage of Tippi Hedren in the film, director James Wynn thought that he could go ahead and just give her third billing as part of the cast. Yeah, that's not how it works. If it did work that way, I could do some pretty crazy stuff. Like I could just say, hey everybody, I've got a guest star on the show today. Emma Watson's here.
Hello, Mark. Thank you for having me on your show. Wow, you're so hot and sexy.
Okay, so anyways, then we have these peaceful shots of the town that pretty much go on forever. And to make it seem as though everything's really peaceful and quiet, they completely cut out the sound until the birds attack and your eardrums are almost blown out by the most annoying sound possible. The birds attack the town complete with airplane sound effects and explosions. Last time I checked, birds do not explode on impact. But then again, I could be wrong. But then again, no, I'm not. So Rod and Natalie find another couple, and they all figure the best way to defend themselves against the birds is with coat hangers. They get inside the guy's rusty old van, and luckily he just happens to have an assault rifle and a pistol inside. Down the road they spot two more cars and a bunch of dead people. One of the cars has a boy locked inside of the trunk, and the other has a girl hiding underneath it. They rescue the two kids, and inside the van, Natalie helps treat their wounds.
Well, we're gonna make this feel all better.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
After picking up some food at a store and avoiding yet another eagle attack, they pull into a park, get out of the van, walk over to a picnic table, and eat lunch. Seems to me that eating lunch in a park out in the open wouldn't be the best idea if you're trying to avoid birds. So after driving down the road some more to somewhere, they have to stop because one of the girls needs to take a shit. I'm serious, I'm not making that up. That's actually the dialogue.
Where's Becky? She's taking a shit. Nellie's watching her back.
So while the girl is scoping out her poo spot, a bird suddenly swoops in and kills her. Then they find a double-decker bus with some people inside and they decide to rescue them, even though the people don't want to be rescued. It's pretty funny watching them being force rescued and listening to them scream no as they're running off the bus.
Come on, let's go!
No!
Come on!
No!
Let's go!
Oh, no!
Come on!
No!
Let's go!
Oh.
Help me! No! No! I want to go! No!
No!
No! Come on!
I want to go!
Let's go!
So then they're all just standing outside for some reason instead of running into the van, which would probably be the smart thing to do. A bunch of eagles fly in and somehow they all get splashed with some sort of corrosive liquid. I actually had no idea what was going on here until I checked the Wikipedia page and found out that the eagles had splashed them with acid, which makes absolutely no sense at all, but I mean, at this point. So then Rod finds a gas station and tries to buy some gas. After they get the gas, they drive down the road to find some guy who's out of gas. He tries robbing them of the gasoline, but once Rod gives him the gas can, he starts walking backwards for some reason. Where is he going? His truck is in the opposite direction. Anyways, while he's walking backwards to nowhere, an eagle swoops in and cuts his neck, which kills him. So instead of grabbing the gasoline, Rod just runs back into the van? Just grab it quick, it's right there, you need it! Then they go into a forest to find some water and they meet this hippie that lives in a tree house, and then we gotta listen to another speech about global warming. Then as they're trying to leave, parts of the forest just suddenly burst into flames. Hey, maybe you guys should go back and rescue that guy. He lives in a treehouse after all. For some reason I feel that the forest fire might affect him. Then they find out that Rod's buddy and his girlfriend are dead. Just in case you guys forgot about ImaginePeace.com. Anyways, the van runs out of gas and the eagles come and attack. One smashes into the windshield while the others just hover around it for a while. And then they just leave. Seriously, I'm not making this up, they just leave. And then Rod, Natalie, and the kids watch as the birds fly away. And this, again, lasts forever. The ending is so long that, look, the kids are even bored. It just ends with them standing on the beach staring at the sky for what feels like an eternity. So that's Birdemic, Shock and Terror. One of the worst movies of all time, inspired by one of my favorite movies of all time. Seriously, if you haven't seen The Birds, then I strongly suggest that you see it. It's got some really cool visual effects for a movie that was made in 1963. That's right, The Birds has better visual effects than Birdemic, and that movie was made over 45 years ago. And even though Birdemic is horrible in pretty much every way possible, I will say that Whitney Moore, who played Natalie, at least tried to give a performance. She seemed like the only actor who did. Everybody else could have been replaced by mannequins, and it probably would have made the movie more interesting. Woo! Yeah, Emma Watson, everybody. Wow. Thank you so much, Emma. Oh, what's that? Oh, I'm very flattered. Thank you, but I shouldn't. I gotta get up early tomorrow morning, and I got stuff to do, and I know I don't.